Hi everyone, this is Matt here. Today we have something special. We're currently live casting the DotaFire tournament, and currently this should be the starting of round 5. Because we're using spectator mode, we're having a bit of delay to load into the game. And this is the first round of the DotaFire tournament. I'll be attaching a link below for the DotaFire tournament website and Discord. Please check them out, they're great, and they'll be hosting tournaments for auto chess frequently now. So currently, this is round 5. We're looking at N9 and a few of the other players. N9 is one of our friends from chat as well, and I heard there's also a Queen player in this lobby as well who has 2 Queen accounts. So it's going to be very exciting round 1 first. What I'm looking at, unfortunately for spectator mode, we cannot see the HP bars and the leaderboard. So what I'll be doing is I'll be monitoring the HP for us, and what I'm looking for is 2-star units in the early game, because I think any player with 2-star units will really have the advantage in the early game, and some very nice couriers as well. Our friend N9 has a Beastmaster, a Lycan, 2-star Ogre, and a 2-star Clockwork. He's currently rerolling at level 4, which is something I have mentioned about rolling for Goblins in early game. So he should be secured on this run for sure, with the nanobot buff correctly on the Clockwork. So level 4. It seems like most players currently are staying on level 4. I'm not sure if this is the strategy for most players or if there's something that we're missing. So yeah, usually I was expecting to see most players level to level 5 very quickly, because level 5 is what most players tend to do, and this gives an advantage by having additional units on the board. And unfortunately, being a spectator, we don't have the correct runs, but once they hit round 10, we'll be able to know which round it is after right away. So let's have a look at N9. He's currently buying a few warriors, or maybe he's level to level 5 now. He's currently level 5 with 1 XP. Let's have a look at our friend over here. Pojo 2, he is currently sitting on a losing streak, I assume, but he's on 96. So yes, it's quite difficult for me to cast without the leaderboard, but what we can try to witness is what's happening. I think he is purposely starting a losing streak over here. He took his 2-star unit back for this particular reason. So we'll keep a focus on this friend as well. And currently, let's look at HP. There isn't that much difference with HP. I don't see anyone with 100% at the moment. The lowest of this is 100% HP player. The lowest being 89%. And the highest being 100%. So currently the HP leader is Youngblood. The current player has a 2-star Clockwork, 2-star Tinker, and 5 units on the board. So I think the highlight would be the Goblins for the early game, as we know. And N9, my friend, N9, the player on the first player section, is currently having a 2-star Beastmaster, Ogre Major, Clockwork, and Axe. Not only does he have the Ox energy, I was going to say he also have the Goblins, but unfortunately he can't have additional Goblins because he only has 5 units. But the Beastmaster at this stage is incredibly strong, for 2 reasons. One is that he enjoys HP buff. Second reason is he actually does a lot of damage with his Wild Axes. The Wild Axe is a physical damage, and it amplifies the damage the enemy receives after each Wild Axe swings that he casts. So after the first cast, he will be doing 40 more physical damage for each enemy he hits normal attack. And currently, we're having a discussion on the revenue for the mobile game. Yes, that's right. The mobile version of the game Auto Chess is going to be released very soon, and knowing that it's a massive market. And Fancy Peppers said, I definitely contributed more to that than I would like to admit playing Dota. A Dragalia lost in the later half of the year. Oh, my friend, I did play Dragalia lost as well. Okay, we'll touch on that once we have a break with the tournament. Let's get back to the tournament. Currently, we're hitting round 8. I just saw the round here, that's perfect. So what we want to see is who is still the HP leader. The HP leader previously with a win streak is currently losing. He lost his win streak. and currently the lowest HP player is currently Spot at 83%. So right now, what we're looking at is if there's anyone with a win streak, and other than that, we're looking at builds and synergies for most players. Because in the early game, it's about potentials, builds, and synergies and efficiency. What N9 has been doing, he's been collecting units to increase the rate of himself finding other units as hero. Because initially, sometimes you might not get 10 gold to start first saving, so each 10 gold will give us 1 inch saving each round. But buying random units early while you don't have the 10 gold will enable you have a chance of finding other units you want, which I'll touch on that very shortly. Ooh, this player, Youngblood, is currently having 4 goblins and 2 of the 2-star tinkers, and he's currently level 6. By leveling up, it's great to have more units, but the downside is there's a chance of your nanobot buff going onto the range unit as more units you have. And the second downside is there's less chance of you finding goblins each time you level up because they're 1 cost and 2 cost units. What we're looking for again is for players who are actually having a win streak or a lose streak. I think that's very important. Currently, the highest saving I would say is Bojaz 2. Currently, he has 20 gold, and because we did notice he purposely started a lose streak at the very early game by taking back his 2-star task, and that's something we caught on screen as well. So yeah, currently none of the players have any savings except this player. So what he's going into, he's going to elements. I think it's likely he's going to mages and warriors. Warriors can be a great frontline. Mages can do a lot of damage in the mid game. He's taking back the Ogre Major in favor of the 2-star axe. I have heard that Ogre Mages will be getting a change that he will receive Ignite instead of Bloodlust, which really goes well with the mages, instead of a buff for attack speed for the mages. This is a golden round. Usually we want to check items on the players at this round. Currently N9 has 1 item so far. And I'm checking the courier and the player. So currently Bojaz 2 has a Mithril Hammer that's dropped and a quarterstaff, very nice loot, and he's got a chainmail on the tusk, that's very nice as well. And our friend Chicken to Tug has a variety of items, which if I were playing, I'd be very jelly of him. Wow. Now, that's something we also missed. It's the goblins. How many goblins are there on the field? So that's 1 goblin player, 2 major goblin player, which he's focused on goblins heavily. I think he might be rolling for goblins as well. He just leveled up. 1 elf and elemental player. Let's look at his items. Okay, they're decent, and he's still holding 1 on him. This particular player is a value player. He has found his Chore Warlord, and Fei Chen, Love Hat, Fei Chen Smiley Hat, he's currently having a Chore Warlord with a Bat Rider, so what that means is he will be going into Chores and Dragons most likely with the DK and with 2 Midnight he's saving. And by having an early game, solid early game with the Goblins, this is going to give him a really solid mid game once he transforms into the Chores and the Knights once he has 2-star Knights. He doesn't need 2-star Chores, but 2-star Knights will be excellent. So he's definitely someone on the potential to come first or second list. Our friend is currently having a losing streak, I would assume, by looking at his health and his gold. The difficult part is so many people are playing goblins, and for him, it's so hard to find some of the crucial 2-stars what most goblins are taking. Youngblood was the leader at the start of the game. Unfortunately, the 2 Tinkers having trouble to really make it work once it's after round 20. Once it's after round 10, as we can see. The problem in Tinkers is that they don't attack that fast, and with the recent nerf with Tinkers, it's really punishing to go in with more 2-star Tinkers after round 10. Our friend N9 here currently has 20 gold and 77 HP, so I think he is currently in the middle of the leaderboard in terms of HP, that's correct. And currently the leader of the HP is actually Fei-Chen, and Fei-Chen is currently also having the highest potential for the mid game as well. So I think this player is someone we should definitely be on the lookout for. He did sell a 2-star anti-mage, and we can note that. And he did sell a lone druid, so he's definitely going very hard into the trolls. Oh, sorry, he's definitely going very hard into the dragons and trolls by the looks of it. Because I don't think he'll be selling the troll, and he has a great list of knights once he goes into the knights. And having the crystal maiden, I think, is a key unit for the knights unless you have 4 trolls. And having the ATM so early means almost no demons can do great damage to him by having a counter to the demons. This is quite crucial for him. If he loses this round, he will lose his win streak. And I think he was sitting on a pretty nice win streak, or maybe he just lost his win streak last game. That's why the courier is not very big. So, while the game is happening, while it's in its more starting part of the more early game, we'll check the chat as well to see if there's any particular things. And yes, let's see. Forest19 says, hello mate, what is this tournament? A quick tournament for fun from DotaFire? It's a DotaFire tournament, my friend, and they've been hosting tournament since the start of AutoChess. So if you haven't seen them, definitely check it out. I'll post a link for DotaFire Discord as well, and they're very friendly. They do host regular tournaments. It is a smaller tournament, but it's great. Fan says, by the way, Matt, there's a special category for AutoChess, so you don't stream under Dota 2 now, is it? Oh, that's very nice to know, my friend. I definitely need to look into that for sure. Thank you, buddy. And that's perfect. Let's change ourselves into AutoChess. That's excellent. Thank you, buddy, for letting me know. And yes, currently we'll still be keeping some of our focus on N9, who is one of our regulars on the stream as well, and who has managed to participate in this particular tournament. Currently it's round 15, so what we'll be witnessing is a lot of players are doing reverse positioning for the wolves because they are assassins. So as you can see, the warriors line up all the front lines in the back. Well, for this particular player, he's okay because most goblins are tanky. So yes, it's a reverse positioning for most players, as you guys can see. That's a really interesting reverse positioning as well, but most reverse positions do work against the wolves very well. And over here, notice our friend didn't do the reverse positioning, so his Shadowfiend died at the very start. This usually can be a problem, but he has some of the really tanking goblins, so he should be fine over here. All we want to check during this round is items. How are the loots, and what can be critical. If anyone fused something as relevant as a refresher, or if someone fused a Majunia, it's possible to fuse higher tier items at the start of round 15. And that's when higher tier items were dropped. What I'll do is I'll attach an item guide in the description below for you guys as well to have a look at that. Now our friend Chicken to Tag did find 2 Void Stone. So if he also got Void Stone over here. So if he gets any Ring of Regen, he can be really strong very soon. And I think he's curving to mages with his Shadowfiends. So again, he is someone to be on the lookout for, simply because for his high burst potential with mages in the mid game. And we're going to the mid game around 16 right now. I'll be touching on the mages, I'll be touching on the trolls and knights very soon. The trolls and knights are one of the perfect counters for mages. Let's have a look here. By having super armor, what happens is most of the knights will have 70 plus physical and magic resistance. Over here he has 6 knights, and he has 70% physical and 65% magical, and that's one of the greatest counters to mages, because most units do not have magic resistance. And even with a 40% magic debuff, he still had 65% magic resistance. Notice it's minus 39 over here, because that's what the unit started with. The moment they got the night buffs, they become super tanky. With the night buff, they will have super armor. And for those that are interested in the particular guides of how each counters works, I also have a guide which I'll be showing you guys very soon. Our friend N9 here is currently sitting on 57 HP, but he has transitioned himself into dragons, and he's looking forward to transitioning to dragon mages by the looks of it. He has Ogre, a Puck, and 2 other mages ready. The great thing about dragons is they do a lot of burst damage. The downside is he really needs them to be 2-star to be very efficient. Any of the 2-star dragon in this stage is very strong, even the Puck. And by the looks of it, he is able to hold himself in this particular round. And this is great, because dragons and mages can only be stronger in the mid game. This is our losing streak friend, and this particular player was purposely setting himself up for a losing streak. He's currently missing some crucial units, but the comeback potential is great in terms of hunters, as you can see. There's an Undead Necro, there's a Jaw Ranger, and there's a Beastmaster. And because he has some Ox, he can really line up nicely. What I think he could be doing is almost exactly like this, because the Undead provides minus armor, and most of his units are physical damage units. And looking over here, we're currently witnessing the power of the Undead minus armor. Currently, each of the units only have 5% armor, and unfortunately, he's facing a elf. Knowing that there has been a recent hunter buff, the elves are actually being countered by the hunters, but unfortunately, he couldn't find enough hunters to start the hunter synergy, which will still be focused on him very soon. I think he has a great comeback potential. The key is for him to find some crucial 2-stars to really get himself going. So the players of focus will be Chicken to Tug with the mage lineup, Fei Chen with the Trolls and Knights lineup, N9 with the Dragon lineup, which very nicely he just found a Viper, and this is such a quality upgrade for us to look at, simply because Viper has reduced CD, higher damage, and capability of actually sniping a unit at the very start instead of just recharging for the unit. So let's look. Now, unfortunately, Viper did cast his spells on the Deucer, and that's something that did not help N9 over here, because he wasn't able to snipe the Deucer, and because of that, the Deucer was able to gain mana and cast the spells back onto him. So that was very unfortunate RNG for him. And thank you, Thick and Tug, for the follow, my friend. Welcome. So again, we're going to look at HP. Its boss is currently on 28%, and Boja 2 is currently on 29%, so both are going to be very low in terms of HP threshold, and it's likely that's right, they'll be powering up to try to survive and try to roll into higher units. This is something I feel that's very necessary for most players to recognize, is that you really do want to make a break for it when HP is low, when you have savings. Because if you don't make a break for it now, very soon you won't be able to. So we're going to be looking at HP now. 62% is currently the highest we see, so both players are sitting on 73%, and Fei Chen is sitting at 81%. So it's likely Fei Chen is currently in the first place as HP leader, and following by Trigger, and after that it'll be followed by the 60% player who is Youngblood and Chicken to Tug, and then it follows to the play over here with Browsers and N9. So currently each player has a very unique combination, which is something I really enjoy with Auto Chess. For our player Trigger over here, he has the goblins going for him. So what is likely is once he gets to level 8, there's a high chance of him trying to roll into attackies. But remember over here, our friend is both. He had attackies, but he sold it for Lich. Personally, I think both are great, and even by swapping out a task of something like a bounty hunter is still worth it for the techies, for his burst potential in this particular stage of the game. He's facing N9 right now, and N9 is using a defensive positioning, which really favors the dragons. Unfortunately, N9 does not have the mage lineup ready, but this is still very strong. The Lich is doing great work, and I think the Lich was actually key over here for our player both to not lose that heavily. I actually won the round because Lich casted twice. If he can get a 2-star Lich, we'll definitely put a highlight on Lich. And our friend Foro17 said Trigger is strong. Let's have a look at Trigger. Yes, indeed, Trigger is strong in the sense he has Timber, so that's 2-star. I raise it as 2-star, also with some great items. And also Luna with Mass of Madness. Oh boy, Mass of Madness is one of those incredible items for units like Luna, like Troll Warlord, or even units like Anti-Mage or even Tiny, because some of them has only passives. Units like Tiny have great base attack that can really capitalize on this attack speed and lifesteal. Let's have a look at how our HP leader and our currently the 6th Knight player is doing. Currently, Feichen is doing quite well, but I think he just find one of his matches because Knights actually get punished by Lich quite strongly because Knights don't do enough damage. Not being able to do damage means Lich can stack up his mana, and once Lich start bouncing, the Knights will have very much high reduced attack speed. And having some of the 1-star Knights is really damaging to him. But he's okay because he's sitting on the highest HP and a very good income. So once he start rolling, he should be seeing a lot of pairs coming. But unfortunately, he did sell his so many Knights, so in favor of having the Troll lineup. I think this is nice, having 4 Knights and the Trolls. Personally, I feel the Chaos Knight really do fall off after round 16, simply because he's a single target demon. He takes 1 demon spot from the Trolls, and the ideal Knights for me, myself personally, will be Abaddon and Omni Knight for having the 10 armor, being a 3-star Knight, and just to be a solid tank compared to the 5 armor Chaos Knight. But of course, the Chaos Knight will provide more damage for the lineup. Let's come back to N9 because he has a great potential with Dragon and Mages. And N9 did get feedback to us. I can win against Trigger but lost against others. Got baited by DK. That is correct, my friend. And by having the Dragon and Mages, I think N9 has a great chance for have a good comeback. The downside is N9 is currently sitting on level 8 with not enough economy to sustain himself into the late game, unless he gets a lucky DK, Conquer, or Keeper of the Light. Personally, the DK is a Dragon Activator. Let's see how he deals with this particular round. Wow, this is Trigger, and Trigger is considered by far one of the stronger player in this game simply because of Luna. But the great thing is N9 has a great lineup against Trigger because Trigger is very vulnerable to magic damage, simply because most of his goblins are melee and his Luna is not in a Knight composition. Without being a Knight composition, Trigger actually does not enjoy the actual super armor from the Knights, but he has the Elves going. So they're great against anything that's not AoE, but he is also transferring himself back into Mages, so this is very interesting for Trigger as well. Trigger currently is the HP leader, I think. Yes, that's correct. Being the HP leader, he has Elves, Goblins, Mages. This is very interesting. And his particular lineup is great against almost a range of players. So this allows him to have a high HP against most players simply by winning and not losing too hard. And our friend Chin on the chat says, play Dragon Park and go to win. Said, I never get baited by DK. I get baited by Knights because if I say Luna, I get Luna, which loses the game. I got baited by Trolls, Chin said. Yes, Trolls are great and Lunas are great. But the downside with Luna, guys, is that 2-star, once you go to the late game, she becomes a power pack for the enemy. Because looking at her passive, guys, she has 5 bounces on the enemy, and each bounce reduces damage by 30%. So it's likely you'll be bouncing into the enemy backline, you'll be charging up their mana faster by giving them a little bit of damage. So a Luna, in a sense, is like a reverse Crystal Maiden for the enemy. but the great thing is she does bounce for a lot of damage. Let's come back to N9 over here. He's currently level 8 and he's still looking for 3 of his critical pairs. The moment he has some of his critical pairs matched up, I think it should be really nice for him. And currently he's facing a mage. And as we all know, what happens with mages is each of the players do blow up. Remember, in this particular mage is our friend Chicken Tutag, who is also sitting very healthily on HP because his plans of transitioning into mages with his multiple shadow things we saw earlier. And let's have a look at how our losing streak friend is going. He's doing very nicely, transitioning himself into hunters. And the first player I think was eliminated from round 1 was the particular player that was starting to lose at the very start, I suppose, because he had such a hard time at the start and everyone had a solid matchup. So at that stage of the game, it was critical for him to make a break for it, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. Our friend Youngblood here is salvaging all his gold into the... Oh no, can he make it? He made it. So yes, this is excellent. So I was going to say, usually what you want to do is you want to put down the unit first and then you want to salvage gold to make up the level, because at the round when it's green you can put units down and put units back. When it's yellow you can't take back units, but you can still level up when the timer is still yellow. So the 5-second preparation time, when it's yellow you can still level up, and that was very much needed for him to not lose this round. So Kyrie looking around, as some of us might have expected, and it might surprise some of us, it's that the mage are actually very relevant in the mid game. And this is a unique lineup. We really do want to focus on Trigger because for his creative abilities to run 3 different synergies, which not saying they're great, but it's very efficient to have multiple synergies of races and classes in the mid game, because mid game is what allows you to protect HP and transition yourself into the late game with something stronger. And it's both said, yeah, the only item I got were Morbid Mask, Ring of Health, Ring of Regen, the whole game. That's very unfortunate, my friend. It happens to me in many games as well. I think it just sometimes item RNG is not in our favor. That makes it really hard game for us, especially other players have such leading board at this early game. And looking over here, our friend N9 is currently facing one of the stronger player, which is the Hunter with a 3-star Long Druid. And this is a player we wanted to focus at the very start of the game, but we did look away for a bit. And when we got back, actually he did not have the Long Druid. Let's see who had the Long Druid. Ah, it's Browsers. Browsers had the Long Druid and he had the Hunters. That's just very interesting as well, and I think we didn't miss out him for quite a bit of time. Currently he's not sitting too healthily in terms of health, but he has some of the best potential in the form of a 3-star Long Druid, 2-star Medusa and a Hunter lineup. So he has some of the best units. He just needs a bit of HP to survive. Once he gets to level 9 with a Tide, oh boy, he'll be very much a contender for the top 3 position. Our HP leader at the very start of the game and income leader is currently stabilizing because he was able to transition with his economy into level 9. And unfortunately our good friend N9 was defeated as the 7th place. Thank you, my friend, for participating, and thank you for the great game, my friend. It's really unfortunate that there was some solid matchups which were very strong in any stage of the mid game. So noticing here they have the Trolls and the Warriors and the Medusa in the front line. And the Templars as so. Mattjestic 2 is very creative on this particular matchup as well. What he might be looking for is he's using the Naga magic resistance to benefit himself greatly, and he also have the 6 Warriors, which is very nice. So currently, if I was to estimate top 3 player, I would say it's Chicken to Toss with the Mages, simply because Mages are so great versus players. They're not that great versus neutral monsters, as you can see, but so great versus players. Oh, he actually drawed very nice. And my second person to have a chance of being top 3 was going to be Triggers. Let's see what his matchup is. Currently, he did sell his goblins, so he is transitioning into mages. But unfortunately, he is a bit slow on the transition to mages. So what that means is, unless he finds a critical unit like a Disruptor and a Deucer, he is actually behind with the mage transition, because Luna does not fit in a mage lineup. What he can do though is, later on he can sell the Luna and give the Master of Madness to the Crystal Maiden. I think our friend browsers have a good chance of coming top 3 as well, simply because of the synergy of the lineup and the potential of him to match into something great once you get to level 9. It's actually very hard to tell on the next person to be top 3, simply because some of the matchups really do counter each other. So I think it's likely Mattjestic will be our third player to be top 3 as well. Let's see how we go. Simply because his 6 warrior and 2 Naga lineup is actually one of the best contender for mages and for everything else that's physical attack. So he's one of the tanky lineup, and he's quite strong, and he has some of the really good economy. Looking at level 9 and 66 gold means he can go to level 10 at any time. So he actually has a great chance of coming first in this game as well. And our friend It's did mention in chat that did allow for comeback potential, even though I had X 3-star, Task 3-star, and one from Augur Major 3-star didn't allow for a comeback. Yes, my friend, the problem is there were so many mages in this particular match for this tournament at this round that most of the warriors do tend to fall off unless you have the 2 Nagas on the board really early. But it's hard to find Nagas on the board to be effective because they don't do much damage. Yes. Mattjestic, Chicken to Tug, and it's likely browsers. I think it's likely Fairchain is going to be a top 3, simply because Fairchain have a very nice synergy in terms of knights, chores, and units like Conquer and Deucer, who are really excelling in the late game. Being some of the great initiators, not the top initiators like Tide and Disruptor, the great initiators like Conquer and Deucer can really be pulling their own weight once they get enough mana. What Fairchain may be looking for is a Disruptor. Having a Disruptor allows him to instant hacks. Having a Disruptor allows him to silence the mages. But he can also be looking for a Tide Hunter for the anti-magic buff, or for the magic defense buff. Very unfortunate, his Deucer's position in the front, and she got doomed right away. It's so lovely to see when a boat crosses, right guys? And sometimes when we run 3 Conquers, you see boats flying from left to right. The Troll Warlord was MVP over here, as we can see. So knowing how he lost when his Deucer is doomed, that means he has a great chance of not dying. But unfortunately, for a friend over here who had a high potential, I think he did lose to mages. Browsers did lose to, actually, yes, our friend here was having trouble with the mages, I feel, and because the matchup, he might have lost to one of the mages, but I was actually focusing on the knights over here. And yes, we did predict a little wrongly. I think Youngblood will be the next to be in trouble compared to the other 3 players, simply because they have higher HP pool, and they have a higher chance to win or to not lose too badly. And thank you so much, Jenny Lee, for the following, my friend. Welcome, and thank you for the support. So currently our top position is Chicken to Tug with a healthy amount of HP. For a mage player to have this much HP, it's incredible, and this will really help him because what he has working for him is great HP, great income, and a very solid lineup with 2 Shadow Fiend. Notice in the very early game he had 4 Shadow Fiend. The moment he combined his mages and he had 2 Shadow Fiend, it's a moment he became the powerhouse for this game in the mid rounds. So here are top 3 of the players we have left. On the 3rd position, we have Fairchain, who was the HP leader, who also found his Disruptor. He has split out very nicely to counter the mages, so he doesn't get caught with everything. On the 2nd place is Mattjestic, who has transitioned into Nagas with 2 Tide, with 6 Warriors, and with 2 Undead, with also a Disruptor and a 2-star Troll Warlord, So he's great in terms of defensive, and he has the lower offensive capability, but it's likely he'll be second because of his defensive capability. And over here, our first player is Chicken to Tug, and he just leveled to level 10 after the neutral round. That's something I want to highlight with you guys as well, is that you really want to power up after the neutral round to be level 10. Let's look at his positioning. It's very nice to have his initiatives at the front, and also notice he have 1, 2, 3 humans. If he had a Lina, he can have 4 humans. That's something I feel that's so much underrated. Having a Lina here would definitely benefit him more than having the Tinker, for sure. And he can transition the items onto his Enigma, which would be great help for him. But knowing how strong mages are, this is why we love mages. By splitting, he really shared his damage, and if one side was to be defeated, the other side will push back like this. Currently, each of the players have a great edge against each other simply because the mages are so versatile. The tides can do great things when they get their ravage off. What I feel maybe our friend Bodgers can do is have the tide, the Deucer, and the Disruptor in the front line, and the rest of the units don't steal the mana. So they don't steal the damage, they can get the spells off quicker. Again, Fairchant is currently sitting on the 3rd position with the lowest health. He's currently level 10. So what he's looking for is an upgrade with some quality units. For example, Techies, Disruptor, the Death Prophet, and Tide. The great thing for him is actually having a Techies over here. That was such a crucial Deucer start. But the highlight is going to be Techies if he can get the bomb off. He did not get the bomb off, so he is actually in trouble. And I think this round will be the end of him because of the Lich and his attack style. And now we look at the top 2 players. And at 2nd place, we have Mattjestic, who was our lost leader at the very start of the game. If we recall earlier, he purposely took back his 2-star task to start a losing streak. So he was one of my to watch list because we can see the clear intention of starting a losing streak, and he had a great plan to come back in the mid game by spending his much earned economy. And here is our leader, Chicken to Tags, with the mage lineup with a perfect spread and with a Tide Hunter. I think we want to watch on Mattjestic to see how he fares in the matchup with each round of defense. Currently, the human silence can be very deadly for him, but fortunately, he was able to get a lucky ING to not get human silenced. And yes, as you can see, this great split with mages do work well, but the downside is mages lack good tech. But that said though, if the mage put a Tide in front and the Tide have any items, or if it's 2-star, it's pretty much over for the other player. So the Tide just needs some items, some HP items. Next thing you know, it will be the end of the game for most players, because Tide will enjoy the Crystal Mana Aura and receive damage, basically casting the Ravage up so much quicker than anybody else. So, currently, we have a link over here with Dota Auto Chess, and yes, there's a new category for Dota Auto Chess, which is excellent, my friend. And welcome to the chat. Let me know if you have any questions. Bupa BU6PA top. Sorry for the pronunciation, my friend. And yes, we're going to be focusing over here because I feel each round for our friend Mattjestic is very critical, simply because of mages. Okay, I was going to say Mage has such a highlight to burst him down, and with a random chance, this happened. So congratulations to Chicken to Taz for winning the 1st round of the DotaFire tournament. I'll be going to the 2nd round very soon, guys. Thank you for watching, and please remember to subscribe, to share the content you like with your friends, and thank you so much guys for the support. I'll see you guys at the round 2.